Today is 1/12/21. That is going to be a Tuesday morning. Nice to have you guys back for a Tuesday morning. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. And if you hit the like button, that does help us and move us up. And if you feel that there's good contents, please hit the like button. If you have not subscribed, then you might want to subscribe if you're going to be dealing in the financial aspect of this channel as well. And I already put some things of why I will be going live if that's something that you're into. But that's not what this lesson is about. So, I like to start off with, right? I like to say, you can make it through Jesus by speaking life over your life. You can make it. Guys, we can do this. God didn't put us here to fail. God put us here to show his greatness through us, if we will allow him. All right, let's go ahead and get into this lesson. We're on volume 7 today, volume 7 of wisdom. And remember, on volume 7, I had mentioned to you guys in the previous video, pick two people that you care about, that you love, that you feel could benefit from the wisdom series. And let's see if you can be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. And let's see if you can get them to watch 2 videos from this channel. Not harming them, not hurting them, but trying to lead them back to God if you feel these videos have done that for you. Pass these videos on to 2 different people. And the one video I'm picking is authenticate. If you can pass that one on for me, authenticate. And whatever one you want, pass that one on to whoever you want. Because we are trying to be vehicles of God. Trying to be vehicles of God. And I know some of you like the Hummer. Hey, take the Hummer, no problem. He has so many vehicles. Man, God has so many vehicles at his disposal. So, hey, you can be the Hummer. There's many more out there. But pass those on if you feel led by the Lord. And he will put the peoples on your mind of who he wants it passed on to. So you just listen to him and he will show you where to go. Okay, now it's time for me to get in volume 7 of wisdom. And guess what volume 7 is? It's going to be insight. We're going to look at insight for volume 7. Insight. What is insight? It is discernment of the true nature of a situation. So what insight is I'm going to give you clarity of stuff going on behind the scenes that people don't want you to see. But wisdom, because I have insight, I'm going to show you behind the scenes stuff that people are trying to hide from you. I'll show you. Check it out. Let's start off in 1 Kings 4:29. 1 Kings 4:29. All right. It says in 1 Kings 4:29, God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight, and a breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashores. So we know Solomon was pretty hooked up. And I'm still waiting to hear his number. I'll find out what that is. I'm still waiting to hear his number because me and him need to talk. All right, but let me keep going. So now we're going to go back up to chapter 3, 1 Kings 3:16. I want you to read that when you get a chance. 1 Kings 3:16 when you get a chance. And the reason why 16 down to 28, I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to kind of just explain the story. Well, there was 2 prostitutes that came to King Solomon, and one of them had a child. And when she had a child, the other prostitute had a child about 3 days later or something like that. But they lived in the same house. Well, the first woman that had a child, she fell asleep and the child fell asleep with her. Well, the second woman that had a child, from what we understand the story, she slept on her child and the child died. So that woman changed childs from one child to the other one. And then they started arguing because one child was dead and one child wasn't. And then both women were saying, no, that's my child. Okay. So now, let's see how Solomon shows you his wisdom. Check it out. How Solomon shows you his insight. Check it out. We're going to look at verse 23. Okay? This is the king starts to speak because the ladies were arguing in front of him. The king says, This one says, my son is alive and your son is dead. While that one says, no, your son is dead and mine is alive. Then the king said, bring me a sword. See, here comes insight. Bring me a sword. So they brought a sword for the king. He gave them an order, cut the living child in two and give half to one and half to the other. The woman whose son was alive was filled with compassion for her son and said to the king, please, my lord, give her the living baby. Give her the living baby. Don't kill him. But the other one, neither I nor her shall have him. Cut him in two. Then the king gave his ruling. Give the living baby to the first woman. Don't kill him. She is the mother. Look at how the Lord dropped something in Solomon's spirit to be able to make an order. This order was not to kill the child. He was looking for the insight. He was looking for what is the truth behind what you guys are saying right now. And God gave him a scenario. And look at by him seeing the compassion, he said, oh, that's the mother right there, because mothers have compassion for their children. But see how insight, when you have wisdom and she allows you to exercise insight at its highest level, there's nothing that can be hidden from you that God does not want you to see. If you let your insight be increased. Let's keep going. First Kings. We're still in First Kings. We're in First Kings and we're looking at verse 14. I'm looking at verse 14. First Kings chapter 14. First Kings chapter 14 is where I'm going next. First Kings chapter 14. So this story is about Jeroboam, and what had happened with him was the prophet had met him out in the field, and the prophet had told him everything that God was getting ready to do. God was getting ready to make him king over Solomon, because Solomon had took 1,000 wives, started bowing down to other gods. So the Lord told Jeroboam that he was going to make him king instead. Met him in the field. That's a couple chapters before. You can go look for it. But then afterwards, Jeroboam started doing whatever he wanted. He started acting and doing whatever he wanted, even though he knew God did this for him. So then Jeroboam's son got sick. So he said to his wife, disguise yourself, go to the prophet, the same one that told me I would be king. He will tell you what will happen to the boy. Okay? So now I pick up this story. So we know that she disguised herself. In verse 1, it tells you that. 1 Kings 14, we're looking at 1 through 17. You have to read the whole thing. But verse 1, we see she disguised herself, took some bread, took some food. And then now, verse 5. Okay, verse 5. Here's verse 5. But the Lord had told the prophet, Jeroboam's wife is coming to ask you about the son, for he is ill, and you are to give her such and such a answer. When she arrives, she will pretend to be someone else. So the Lord's already warning him with insight. Well, the king's wife is going to come. She's going to be disguised as someone else, but I'm letting you know it's the king's wife. She's coming to ask about the boy. The boy's sick, and then God goes into why the boy's sick and what's going to happen to the boy. And all this, he tells them exactly why this is happening. Because insight gives you the behind the scenes look at really what's going on. So now, verse 6, right? So as the prophet's there, he hears the footsteps at the door. Come in, wife of Jeroboam. Why this pretense? So now God already warned him some time prior. And then when he hears her steps, it seems to me God tells him, there she goes. And then he goes, why are you pretending? What does insight give you? Behind the scenes look at really what's going on. Okay? So insight is off the charts if you can let God help you to increase it. Let me keep going. I got a couple more, but my time may run out. 2 Kings 5. All right. Couple more and I'm going to let you guys go. So you definitely want that insight increased, because if your insight's increased and people are trying to do things behind your back, God will reveal that to you and you don't even have to be there. I'll show you right now. Check it out. 2 Kings chapter 5. Read the whole chapter. I don't have time right now, so I'm just going to run through it. But when you can, please read the whole chapter. It's a very good chapter. So what had happened was there was a man that was a leader of a army. He was a highly respected man, but he had leprosy. So he went to the king and told the king, man, like, can you help me out here? Can you help me get rid of this or whatever? And then the king had a servant, and the servant overheard, I guess, the conversation or whatever. And he told Naaman, he said, man, go to this servant, Elijah. He will tell you what to do. So Naaman went to the servant. And remember, I told you pride versus wisdom. Well, Elijah came out and told Naaman exactly what to do. The Lord told him exactly, go do this this many times. When you get done doing it, then you'll be clean. Well, Elijah didn't go and meet the man. He sent his servant. Well, the man thought he was of higher standards than to have his servant. He wanted Elijah to come to him. He wanted him to come, or Elijah, whatever, one of the prophets. I don't remember which one it was. But he wanted him to come and wave his hand over him and do some trick and then him be healed. But it didn't happen the way he thought. So his pride jumped up. He almost missed out on his blessing because of his pride. Verse 11 tells you that. But Naaman went away angry and said, he thought it should be done this way. And since God didn't do it his way, he got mad. He almost let his pride mess him up. But his servant said, come on, man, do what the man says. So he does what the man says, paraphrasing the story. Then he comes back to Elijah to lavish gifts on Elijah because he got healed. Elijah told him, man, keep your stuff. I'm good. I'm just doing God's work. Go in peace. You're good, man. That's in verse 19. You can read through it. That's in verse 19, man. Go in peace. You're good. But as he was going in peace, the servant Gehazi, which is Elijah's servant, he thought, man, hold up, homie. My master let you off too early. So I'm going to go ahead and run behind you when you get far enough away. And I'm going to tell you that my master told me to come and collect the plunder. But Elijah never told him that. Gehazi did this on his own. So he runs after the man. In verse 21, you'll see Naaman getting down. And he's saying, I see you came to meet me. So I'm getting off the horse. Can I help you? And then the servant goes, yeah, can you give me all that you're going to give my master? And he said, my master sent me to say. He lying already. My master sent me to say in verse 22. So he told the man, and the man gave him all the plunder and all the goods. So then, now verse 25. Then he went in and stood before his master Elijah. Here comes insight. Listen to what Elijah says in verse 25. Where have you been, Gehazi? Elijah asked. Your servant didn't go anywhere, Gehazi answered. Here's insight. But Elijah said to him, was not my spirit with you when the man got down from his chariot to meet you? I was there. Even though you don't think I was, the Spirit of God was there. Here's the kicker. That same leprosy that left Naaman, now it's going to cling to you and your descendants for the rest of your life. All because you did contrary to what God wanted done. And you tried to hide from God. See what insight does? Elijah was not even there. But he told the man exactly what he did. Insight. Elias, I'm sorry, I was saying Elias, but Elias, great insight. Lord gave him insight. Last one. Read that on your own time. I'm sorry, last two. So this is why we want to increase our insight. So that way we can get all the goods that God has for us. Because people, they'll try to pull a fast one on you. But with God, no fast ones today. But when you have that insight, that is why it's so important to get wisdom. And that's why she is so supreme. All right, Philippians 1:9. I'm almost done. Philippians 1:9. Is that the one I want? Philippians 1:9. Let me see if that's the one I want. It says, yes, and this is my prayer, that your love may abide more and more in knowledge and depth of insight. How deep do you want your insight to go? We've already talked about the different packages. How deep do you want your insight to go? Because if you remember Samuel, his insight went pretty deep. He told Saul everything that he was going to do in one day, in a sense of like one day. Okay, you're going to go here, you're going to meet this many people, they're going to have this, they're going to do that, and then you're going to accept this from them, then you're going to go do this. And then after you leave them, you're going to go do this. And after you leave them, you're going to go do this. He told him this step by step. I think that was like 1 Samuel. I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 or 4, one of those chapters. I'll try to put in the bottom if I remember. But this is what insight can do for you. Last scripture, 2 Timothy 2 and 7. 2 Timothy 2 and 7. And then it says, reflect on what I am saying, for the Lord will give you insight into all this. Meditate on what I'm saying and see if God will increase your insight. Let's see today if you can let the Lord work through you and show you his insight. If you let him, if there's something going on behind the scenes that you don't know, he will reveal it to you if you let him. This is what insight offers. A behind the scenes look at what people may not want you to see. Exercise your insight today and watch God do some great things for you. Be blessed on this Tuesday.